Hello guys, Skypoint here, and the new neutral cards are now live, so we're going to be taking a first look at those. We're going to be beginning with Chaos, where I believe there are 10 new neutral cards, that's what they said. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we have. We start at 1 energy with Into the Warp. So looking at this, it says return all tactics in your hand to your deck and draw a similar number of cards. So this is kind of interesting. I guess the point of this is that if you've got a deck which is a blend of tactics and troops, and you have far too many tactics in hand for the moment and you need troops instead, you can use this to swap it around. I can kind of see that being semi-useful, but unfortunately, the deck which is going to use this the most is probably Alpha Legion, because this is going to work pretty well with the Pale Spear. So far, they've been able to do Pale Spear with Orbital Base to force return to deck and draw cards, and now those morally questionable, possibly criminal in real life Alpha Legion players who use the Pale Spear have twice as many cards they can use to try to do a return to deck and draw cards effect. Oh boy, I don't like this because I don't like Alpha Legion. But it's another nasty trick in Alpha Legion players' arsenal, so watch out for that. Next up, we have another tactic. It's Hellspawn. Give +2/+1 to a friendly demon or a mark of chaos to a non-demon troop. So this is an interesting tactic. It's obviously going to help pretty much any type of troop. You probably don't want to play it on non-demon troops because of how unreliable the Mark of Chaos effect can be. But this will actually work nicely for word bearers, because most troops who word bearers put in play have the demon keyword. So this will give them a very powerful buff. I'll need to see how I can work this into my Lorgar deck, guys. So that's a neat little card. It's also going to make, I think, Ingethel more competitive, because suddenly some of those demons who are a little bit weak can become a lot more threatening. I like it. Next, we've got Temptation. We saw this in the previews. Give a mark of chaos to a friendly troop and draw a card. So that's great. I mean, 2 energy for a draw card with an extra bonus is a pretty good effect. So, well, not to a friendly troop, sorry, it's friendly infantry or Astartes. But this is not bad. You get to cycle through your cards, so I think that's worth it, and it gives a neat little effect. So it's basically Ingethel's ability plus draw a card. Now we get to an epic, Acleon Wordsinger. This is a nice card. Like, it buffs all the troops on your board with +2. So if you manage to build up a board presence with chaos troops, it'll make them much more deadly, and this will start to try to fix some of the problems which chaos decks have had, right? That their forces are a little bit weak, so this will give them a neat buff while she's alive. So that's the only watch out over there. Next, Cultist Acolyte. We saw these guys before. So 2 energy, sacrifice, deal 2 damage to enemy warlord. It's neat in many decks, especially because their stats are already average, so they're not terrible. And they have a nice little bonus effect over here. It's going to force the enemy to focus on trying to take these guys down instead of hitting your warlord, so it buys you a little bit of time. And of course, for warlords who give survivor, these guys are going to be a staple in their decks. This is new, Cultist Sorcerer. Oh, look at that. Sacrifice. Put in play a lesser demon. That's a nice effect, as long as they survive long enough to trigger that. I think it's a good card. It starts to make some, again, chaos decks a bit more realistic than they used to be before, because it's starting to make them a bit stronger than they were in the past. And of course, when I talk about chaos decks being better, it also will start to influence Horus Reckoning, a Whisper of Chaos decks, because those need lots of chaos cards to be played, and so far we're seeing an improvement in the chaos cards. Rain of Fire. So, okay, Chaos continues to get to pretty much lock down the area damage cards. They've got Volcanic Instability, Satellite strike, defense satellites rather, artillery strike, and now rain of fire. Rain of fire looks like an upgrade on artillery strike in a couple of ways. First of all, it affects all enemies, not just 3 enemies, and it's doing 2 damage to them, but it does it in a way where it inflicts 1 point of damage twice. That sounds weird, but you need that to help finish off survivor troops. So that's really what this card is about, killing troops who have survivor. The Raven Guard will also put this to good use with Sentence, because this will trigger Sentence twice. Human Shields we saw in the previews as well. This is a sort of neat little card. Again, it goes best, I think, with Warlords who give survivor. It's not bad. I mean, even if your Warlord doesn't give survivor, it's a cheap front line, which the enemy cannot ignore because it's going to start spawning and becoming more of a problem later on. So, most likely, survivor Warlords will use it, but it could have a place with other decks as well. The one watch out is if you're against Aracid Nassau or Corvus Corax, they are quite likely to happily allow human shields to start spawning so that they can use their Warlord ability against it later in the game and just basically keep becoming almost impossible to hit for the rest of the match. So watch out for that if you're against Corax or Nassau. Do not put these guys in play. And lastly, the first of the new legendaries we see, Athame. I think the devs will be having to balance this later on. People are coming up with too many nasty combos which will work with this. For example, Alpha Legion and Saboteurs. You could use this to repeatedly play Saboteurs in a turn to dial down the enemy's available energy. So I think that could be like if in a 10 energy turn where you have Athame, you could play Saboteurs twice, I believe, and cut the enemy down from having 10 energy to 9 energy. Well, you know, that's pretty inefficient. It's not that nasty. Anyway, this will have some creative thinking from people. I think it's going to be exciting to see what people come up to with this, and we may be seeing some a bit of modification from the devs of this as well. Alright, so that's the new Chaos cards. Let's go ahead and take a look at the new Mechanicum cards. Alright. So we can see here there are 6 new Mechanicum cards? That's what it looks like. No, 3 new Mechanicum cards, I believe. Of course, you can have 2 of each. So let's see what we have here. We have Zainite Ad Secularis. So these are a 2 energy troop, and their rally ability is deal 1 damage. That's not bad. Average stats and guaranteed 1 damage to a target of your choice. Last Rifle Section was very popular for a similar ability, and this is like a cheaper version of Last Rifle Section. So, yeah, sure, I see this being useful. Absolutely. Alright, let's keep going. We saw Death of Innocence in my preview video. So let's give your Warlord the ability to give a Mark of Chaos to Mechanicum troops who you put in play. I really wonder about this. It's a real tempo breaker. It could start making Mechanicum decks very nasty. I'd like to see what people do with this. Like, losing 1 turn of action and then making your troops way more deadly for the rest of the match could be interesting, especially if you get 2 of them in play and all your troops are gaining 2 Marks of Chaos whenever they go in play. That could get very neat, very nasty, very fast. Alright, and now we also have Svarog 171. So look at these guys over here. They have Relentless. They receive 2 damage at the start of each turn. Oh, I see what it is. So these guys are sort of a variant of, where's it gone here? The Mark III Castellax. The Mark III Castellax costs 3 energy. It has stats of 4 attack and 5 health. And it attacks by itself at the start of the turn. This is a damaged version of it. So it has the same stats, 4 attack and 5 health, but it costs 3 energy only, so it's cheaper. And the payoff is at the beginning of its turn, it receives 2 points of damage to itself. So the enemy just has to do 3 points of damage when you put it in play, and it's going to kill itself. But if your enemy does not do 3 points of damage when it goes in play, it's a 3 energy unit which is about to do 4 points of damage before it probably dies when it attacks. That's interesting. course, if you've got a bunch of stuff which heals or buffs Mechanicum units, it starts to get a bit nastier as well. So you can get a little bit creative with this. I sort of like what the devs have done, created a cheap, very powerful unit which is going to be killing itself slowly over time. Alright, I thought we had some new Mechanicum stuff as well in previews. I don't see that here. Okay, well, let's just keep going through then, I guess. We also then have the new Imperium cards. Alright, well, where do we have here? Alright, let's take a look. We have Navigati Secundus. You know, I'm going to go back to Mechanicum in a section. I thought there was something else. Alright, let's take a look here. Sorry, let me come back here. What am I missing? Maybe it's not added on this screen. Let's just go to the all cards view and take a look down the Mechanicum line. Is there anything which I don't have and which looks new over here? Ah, right, there we are. 10 energy. Alright, I was wondering about that, where the new legendary was. Ashurax. Wow, look at that. So it's 10 energy, Ordinatus Minoris Ulator. So it has shield. Wow, neat. It does 6 damage to all enemies for 8 energy. Holy moly, look at that thing. So you put it into play. Unless the enemy has a tactic or a unit which destroys vehicles, the next turn they're going to be taking a whopping 6 damage across the board. On the other hand, it has high health but very low attack, so you can actually hit it with your units without taking a lot of damage in return. That's sort of interesting. It's a legendary unit, it's very expensive, it does a lot of damage to its ability, but it doesn't do a lot of direct face damage, so that could get neat. And I think I'm missing one more Mechanicum unit. Here we go, Neuro C, the Thanatar Siege Automata. So let's take a look here. It has shield. It does 6 damage to a random enemy for 3 points of damage. Now that's actually really cool because this guy is anti-stealth and he's also anti-ward, right? Because you're attacking a random target, so ward will not protect you. I like that. As more and more troops with stealth and ward are going in the game, we need more troops like this, which will give us ways of dealing with those. So this is a neat, pretty solid card. I think it's going to get it's going to get some good use. Alright, before we go to the Imperial troops, I just want to take one more look at the Chaos section just to see if there's anything else which I have missed. Because in case the card preview list was not showing something. So I just want to go down here and watch out for any cards which I don't have. We talked through Rain of Fire already. Nope, I think we covered the Chaos cards. Alright, so we also talked through the Mechanicum cards over there. Let's go ahead to the Imperial Army cards. So going through, we are going to start off with here we go. Alexis Nebula we've already seen before. Navigati Secundus. So this guy was already there in the preview video. So first of all, that's some pretty horrific artwork. What on earth is plugged into his eyes? But it's a draw a tactic from your deck. So this is useful in a couple different ways. Obviously, hunting through your deck to get tactics is neat. It's also going to help the Alpha Legion with Pale Spear because it counts as a card draw, so watch out for that. The only issue with these guys is their health is pretty low, so they're pretty easy to kill. And when people are trying to stop card draws, well, yeah, cards like this are easy and cheap to go after. With only 1 health, you don't mind throwing your Warlord into these guys, and sorry, only 1 attack. You don't mind throwing your Warlord into these guys, and 3 health is, yeah, easy to kill. On the other hand, it's only 2 energy, so perhaps if you really want tactics, these guys can do work for you. Let's keep going through here, and we see Civilian Survivor. Give stealth to a friendly infantry or Astartes until your next turn. Okay, so these guys start with stealth, and they stay in stealth, and they're giving stealth to other troops. Wow. Alright, yeah, because there are a lot of troops on your own side which would be you can put into play. You can give them stealth and then either attack with them the next turn or use their energy ability and then give them stealth again. That could be very powerful. I think you're going to see some players being very creative with what ends up getting stealth from these guys. So Civilian Survivor is going to probably start making you want to pack a lot more anti-stealth units into your deck. This is new. Exorcism. Let's see here. Deal 6 damage to an enemy demon or stun another enemy. Okay, so if you put this card in your deck, you're probably keeping it mostly for the stun effect, because not that many decks right now have demons in it. And now I'm not just saying that to stop you guys from packing your deck with Exorcism so my Lorgar deck doesn't have issues, but yeah, I haven't seen that many people playing Word Bearers or Demon heavy decks on the ladder. So you're going to be using Exorcism for the stunning effect, which is not bad. Being able to do a lot of damage to enemy demons is a bonus on top. Honestly, if you have 2 of these and you have something like a Seek and Destroy, for 8 energy, you can even kill a Slayer of Worlds in 1 turn. So could be a powerful set of cards to pack. Alright, let's keep going down through here. Supply Lines is new. Draw a vehicle from your deck and reduce its cost by 2. I like that. I like that a fair bit. It's like Abandoned Supplies, but very specifically grabbing a vehicle and making it cheaper. This could help with vehicle heavy decks in general. I need to think about this one. I like it. Alright, let's keep going down through here. We have Jewel of Ultramar. This is from my preview video. I personally think this is a little bit too much of a tempo breaker, because I don't like cards which you put in play and you get nothing for the rest of the turn to show for it. So I'm not totally convinced with this one. I suppose you do get a card draw, 5 energy to draw a card right now and get cheaper stuff in future. Maybe. Alright, let's keep going in here, and we end up with... Oh, I think that was it. So, yeah, I think we have passed through all the new cards over there then. So, the big ones then, just to recap, was from Chaos, we have a new legendary, which is going to be... where's it gone here? Athame Blade. So... a lot of people are trying to figure out what we'll do with this. I think you're going to see some interesting stuff being pulled off in ladder matches with this card, as Warlords suddenly start switching what they do and become weird and nasty. For example, Demon Form Angron gaining Warlord every turn. And then the other interesting new one was from the Mechanicum. We have this new legendary which is a little bit tough to kill, but if you don't kill it, you're going to suffer big time next turn. Alright, this looks interesting for sure. I guess we will find out as people start collecting these cards and hit up the ladder. So until we meet again, goodbye for now, guys.